Welcome to Basic Electrical Engineering lecture. Till now in the previous classes we have seen the fundamentals of AC circuits. After we dealt with DC circuits, and also we have seen how the application of sinusoidal voltage to the pure circuits consisting of pure resistive element, pure inductive element and pure capacitive element will yield the phasor relation between the voltage and current. Just to look back briefly, these are the phasor relations of pure R circuit, pure L circuit and pure C circuit which we need further to understand in the analysis of practical circuits. So in pure R circuit, where the circuit element is pure resistive, when we apply pure sinusoidal voltage of E volts, where capital E and capital I are the RMS values, and here lowercase e and I gives us the instantaneous values. So if I apply a voltage of E volts of instantaneous value E equal to Em sin omega t, then I will be equal to Im sin omega t. This already we have derived and we have seen in the previous class, where Im is equals to Em upon R. The current Im, the maximum value of current Im is equals to Em upon R, where R is the resistance of the circuit. And we also have seen there the current will be in phase with the voltage E. Okay, so the vector I and vector E will overlap on each other. Just to show the differentiation between I and E, I have drawn it slightly above the vector E. Okay, but actually vector I will be lying exactly on vector E. Okay, and in any phasor system, when we draw it for any circuit, the parallel vectors represent the in phase quantities. Okay, when we draw the waveform, okay, voltage E is starting at omega t is equals to 0, reaching its it is completing its one cycle at omega t equals to 2 pi, okay, reaching its positive maximum at pi by 2, negative maximum at 3 pi by 2 radians. Okay, because current I and E are in phase, the current I will also take the same phasor values, okay, with respect to omega t. Okay, it means it starts at omega t equal to 0, reaches its positive maximum at omega t equals to pi by 2 radians, reaches 0 at pi, reaches its negative maximum at omega t equals to 3 pi by 2 radians, and completes its cycle at omega t equal to 2 pi exactly. This relation shows the voltage and current in resistance are in phase. Okay, or we can say the phase difference between voltage and current in resistance is 0. Okay, coming to pure inductive circuit, okay, where the applied voltage is E equal to Em sin omega t. The moment current I flows in L, there is a self-induced EMF, let us call it as E dash, okay, in the inductance L. Okay, and this self-induced EMF E dash will be always opposing the source E. So this E dash is equals to minus E. I can write E dash is equals to minus E. Okay. So here the current I flowing through L will be lagging behind the voltage E by an angle 90 degrees. This mathematically has been already proven, okay, that the lagging angle of current in pure inductive element is 90 degrees. Therefore here the phase difference between voltage E and I is minus 90 degrees. Okay, we can say it as minus, and the minus indicates lagging nature of the quantity. Okay, and the waveform drawn, very clearly it is observed that voltage E is starting at omega t equals to 0. I am taking E at a reference point, that is it's always start at omega t equal to 0. Current I is starting after pi by 2 radians or 90 degrees with respect to E. So this is the meaning that current I lags behind voltage E. Okay? It means that current is taking some extra angle or delay, we can call it as simply delay. Current is delayed by an angle 90 degrees with respect to the existence of voltage. Now if I consider that voltage starts existing at omega t equal to 0 onwards, then current will start existing after omega t equals to pi by 2 onwards. Okay, so this y-axis I have drawn as a reference. Okay, therefore there is a continuous phase difference of 90 degrees between voltage and current for any number of cycles we can consider. Okay, and we assume, already we have seen that the assumed positive direction of vectors is anticlockwise. Okay, so with respect to this direction of rotation of vectors, because we know these vectors are not stationary, these are rotating vectors that represent any alternating quantity. Okay? Therefore, the vector diagram drawn for this circuit is of this nature, that current I will be behind current voltage E by an angle 90 degrees always. Okay, so for any number of rotations these vectors rotate. Okay, that is for any value of omega, for any amount of value of omega, this vector I will be lagging behind vector E constantly by an angle 90 degrees. Okay, the reason why current lags and why current leads we shall discuss a few moments later when we see all these three circuits at once. Coming ahead to pure C circuit, when I apply voltage of E equal to Em sin omega t, the current of I equal to Im sin omega t plus 90 degrees will flow. This is also mathematically proven. So here current I will be leading the voltage E by an angle 90 degrees. So here also the phase difference between voltage and current is 90 degrees, but we take it here as plus 90 degrees. Okay. The waveforms drawn for this circuit is again at omega t equal to 0. My voltage is starting, it reaches 2 pi, completes its one cycle here, but the current is starting ahead of voltage, that is the current starts at omega t equal to minus pi by 2. Okay, one can ask a question that how come a current exists before the voltage. Okay, but here what we should understand is this y-axis what I have taken is some reference I have marked so that I can start analyzing the circuit when the voltage is 0 and it is reaching towards positive maximum and ahead. Okay, when I observe the amount of the number of cycles those are present in the source E, okay, there are n number of cycles spanning from omega t equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. So just to understand the nature of the circuit, I have considered only one cycle starting at omega t equal to 0, or we can say that when omega t equal to 0, the voltage is starting from 0, whereas current already has reached its maximum. Okay, we shall restrict the discussion further here because we need to see what happens in the practical circuits. Okay, so the main reason why the current remains in phase with voltage in R circuit, lags behind E by an angle 90 degrees in L circuit, and leads voltage E by an angle 90 degrees is C circuit. Okay, we can observe in these three pure circuits that the lagging angle or leading angle of, or in general the phase difference between voltage and current exists only in the elements which are capable of storing energy. Okay, whereas resistance R is not capable of storing energy, it simply dissipates. Whatever the supply we are giving, it dissipates the complete energy in the form of heat, that is I square R into T, that is the heat energy dissipated by this R. So the energy stored by resistance is 0. Okay, therefore current will not have any phase difference with respect to voltage in this case. Okay. The reason why current lags in the L circuit is the nature of inductance is to oppose the change in the current. Okay. Please note, it is not opposing the current, it is opposing the change in current. So the moment current tries to change its value when omega t changes, that change is opposed by inductance L. Why this opposition is continuously existing? Because there is a self-induced EMF in the inductive coil, and this is continuously opposing its cause as per the Lenz's law. Okay. The cause for this induced EMF is the change in flux. The cause for change in flux is the change in current. Why change in current? Because current is alternating in nature. So because the source is alternating in nature, current is also alternating in nature. Hence the flux produced in this coil is also alternating in nature. Therefore, this induced EMF E is continuously opposing that change in flux. In turn, it is opposing the change in current. Because this inductance is opposing change in current, the current is continuously lagging behind the voltage by some angle. When it is pure, it is 90 degrees. In case of capacitance, the capacitance will behave as a short circuit initially, okay, because the moment supply voltage is given to the capacitance, it takes large current to charge its potential, okay, to charge itself to a potential equal to the source voltage. Now because there is no any other element in the circuit that can create a drop, this capacitance will charge to the maximum voltage of E, that is, it will charge to the maximum value of E. Therefore any further change in the voltage is opposed by this capacitor. Like the current is opposed, the change in current is opposed in inductance, here capacitance opposes the change in voltage. Therefore we see here the voltage is lagging behind the current by an angle 90 degrees. But because we have considered voltage to be at reference point, I assume or I consider that current leads voltage by an angle 90 degrees. But practically, voltage is lagging behind current by an angle 90 degrees. So this is the nature of R, L and C circuits in their pure form. Taking this analysis, we shall go ahead and see what happens if there exists combination of these components. Now suppose there may be a circuit with a value of resistance R and some value of resistance L, or resistance R and capacitance C, or resistance, capacitance and inductance, all RLC. Okay, these form of circuits will exist ideally. Practically it is very difficult to find pure L and pure C, whereas we can find pure R. Okay, the example of pure R circuit is simple, the rheostat what we use in our labs, that is a pure resistive circuit where at the time of fabrication of that resistance wire, the inductance is made 0. Okay, but practically it is very difficult for us to get the pure inductance with 0 resistance and pure capacitance with 0 resistance, because whenever I have to make inductance, I should be making it using either copper wire or aluminum wire or any wire. It will be having practically some value of resistance in it. So therefore I cannot avoid the implicit value of resistance present in any inductor. Whereas when I fabricate capacitor, I will be using different types of dielectric materials, and those dielectric materials will be having some losses, or equivalently we can represent it as a resistance across which the loss will occur. Therefore practically obtaining pure inductance and pure capacitance is difficult. Hence we say the RL circuit, RC circuit or RLC circuits are the more practical circuits, okay, when compared to pure L, pure C, okay, circuits. So we will go further and we'll see what happens with pure RL circuit. Now the RL circuit, It consists of a resistance and inductance in series connected to an alternating source of E volts RMS. Now this is R and this is L. Okay. Here I think we have forgot to just see what is Im in case of L and C. So here Im is equals to Em upon XL, where XL is equals to omega L. And in this case, somewhere here I will write it. Please forgive me for no space. Im is equals to Em upon Xc, where Xc is equals to 1 over omega C. Now, when I apply the voltage of E volts, okay, RMS, a current of I amperes RMS will flow through the circuit. Let us consider the applied voltage E is equals to instantaneous value Em sin omega t. Now the current I flows through the resistance R, same current I flows through the resistance L, okay, and comes back to the source E, and this continues as long as the circuit is closed. Okay, so here I can say that, let us take this as equation 1. Now the current I is flowing through R and L. Coming back to the pure circuits, when current I flows through R, when the element is pure resistive, there is no phase difference. When the element is pure inductive, the phase difference is 90 degrees. When the element is pure capacitive, the phase difference is again 90 degrees but in opposite direction. What we can observe, one more point here with this analysis, is that the minimum phase difference is 0 degrees and the maximum phase difference is 90 degrees. So when the circuits are in their pure forms, the phase difference can be either 0 degrees or 90 degrees. But when the circuits are in their practical form, that is, it is neither pure L nor pure C, either it is RL or RC or RLC, the phase difference between the voltage and current will neither be 0 nor be 90 degrees. It will be between 0 and 90 degrees. Okay? And whether that phase difference is leading or lagging depends upon the nature of the circuit. Now, in this case, the circuit is RL. Okay? Therefore, the nature of circuit is inductive. When there is inductive element present, or when the inductive element is having its maximum effect or major effect in the circuit, the current has to lag behind the voltage. Already I have considered the voltage to be present at reference point at omega t equal to 0. It starts at omega t equal to 0, and the vector of this voltage will lie on positive x-axis in an xy plane. Now, the current I, this current I that is flowing through R and L, definitely will be lagging behind this voltage E by angle not equal to 0 and also not equal to 90 degrees, because if it was pure resistance, it would have been equal to 0. If it was pure inductance, it would have been equal to 90 degrees. But because it is combination of R and L, the lagging angle of current with respect to voltage E is between 0 and 90 degrees. For that, I will consider the lagging angle to be say some phi. Okay. This, let us take this as phi. It is phase difference angle. Phase difference angle between I and E. Okay. Therefore, the instantaneous equation for the current, I can write it as I equals to Im sine of omega t. Now, whether this phi should be taken omega t minus phi or plus phi, that depends on the nature of the circuit. Now, nature of circuit is inductive. Therefore, this phi angle will be a lagging angle with respect to E. Therefore, I will be writing I equal to Im sine omega t minus phi. Now, let us take this as equation 2. Okay. Now, this is the instantaneous current equation representing the RMS value of this current I. Okay. This current I is RMS value, and I take this as instantaneous current because it is the instantaneous equation of the quantities that will give us the phasor relations between the quantities. Okay, so therefore, whenever I want to understand the phasor relationships, it is helpful to use the instantaneous equations. Okay, so now already I know current I will be lagging behind voltage E by an angle phi because the nature of circuit is inductive. Why I have decided lagging? Because inductance is the component in which current lags behind the voltage. If it was pure, it would have been 90-degree lag angle, but and it is not pure. Therefore, the lagging angle is not 90 degrees; it is less than 90 degrees. So this phi is, and I can say phase difference angle between I and E, and phi is or I can write phi is greater than 0 and less than 90 degrees. Okay, if I make L 0, it will become phi equal to 0. If I make R 0, it will become phi equal to 90 degrees. So always the phase difference angle phi will exist with its value between 0 and 90 degrees for any practical circuit. Okay. Now, drawing the vector diagram for this equation 1 and equation 2. Now, it was very simple here to draw the vector diagram for pure L circuit, pure C circuit and pure R circuit because there were no any other elements present. Now, slightly we will see why we have to draw the vector diagram or phasor diagram for a circuit is that already we have seen that we can represent the alternating quantities using phasors. The phasor diagram will give us the phasor relationship between various quantities those are present in the circuit. So when I see the phasor diagram for any circuit, I will be understanding the nature of that circuit, and also I will be getting what all are the quantities present in the circuit and what are the relationship between those quantities. Okay. Now there is a small thumb rule in drawing the phasor diagrams for any circuit. Okay. So before we jump into drawing the phasor diagrams, first we should see what is the nature of circuit, whether the circuit is series circuit or whether the circuit is parallel circuit. Okay. So in series circuit, always remember one thing: when we draw phasor diagram, we always see to it that I will establish a phasor relationship between the resultant quantities, okay, the grand resultant quantities. Okay. So the grand resultant quantities in the circuits are either voltages and currents, the source voltage and the load current or main current, or for that matter what we say. Okay. So now when we draw phasor diagram, the phasor diagrams are to be drawn to obtain the resultant quantities. Okay. And the phasor diagrams are to be drawn taking one vector as a reference vector. Okay, without considering any reference vector, it is slightly difficult for us to draw the phasor diagrams. Therefore, one vector has to be taken as reference vector. Now here when we see, there are two grand vectors I and E, that is resultant quantities I and E, which has to be taken reference. So in all these three cases, I have taken voltage as reference because I wanted to understand what is the nature of or the phasor relation of current with respect to voltage. Now in this case, already I know the phasor relation between voltage and current, that it is lagging. Okay, now I need not to understand what is the phasor relation. Now already I know it is lagging, but now I want to draw the exact phasor diagram for this particular circuit. Okay, now when the circuit is a series circuit, please make a note, pay attention. When the circuit is a series circuit, the reference vector should be taken is current, because when we draw phasor diagram for any circuit given, the reference vector taken is the vector that represent the common quantity. In series circuit, current is common in all the elements. Therefore, the common quantity in series circuit is current. Hence, we should take current as a reference vector. If the circuit is parallel circuit, then the common quantity is voltage. In that case, I take voltage as a reference vector. Okay. Now here, the intention of drawing phasor diagram is taking current as a reference vector because it is common in all the elements as the circuit is series. The resultant what I am intended to find is the supply voltage E. Okay? Because we know that this voltage E is getting divided into the number of voltage drops across various circuit elements. Now if I take the voltage drop across R, that is I into R, and here the voltage drop is I into XL. Okay, for a moment I will take this as ER and I will take it as EL. So the total voltage in the circuit, when I applying KVL to this loop, I can say it is E minus ER minus EL is equals to 0, or E is equals to ER plus EL. If I write this equations in this form, it appears it is algebraic, but we have already declared that E and I are vectors, therefore ER and EL will also be vectors. Hence, I can't represent this equation simply in the form of algebraic representation. It will be in the form of a vector. So the resultant vector is E is equals to the sum of two vectors ER and EL. Now if I want the vector E, I should be knowing where ER and EL vectors are existing. When I want to know where ER and EL vectors are existing, then I should be drawing the phasor diagram for this circuit. Okay, so already, like I told, to draw the phasor diagram for this circuit, I should take one reference vector, and that reference vector I will be taking as current, because current is remaining common in all the circuit elements. Okay, so take current I as reference vector to draw phasor diagram. Okay. Because I is common in all elements. Okay. Now when I draw the phasor diagram for this circuit, taking current as reference, this is the reference vector I. Now we know that current I is lagging behind voltage E by an angle phi. Here we observe current I is lagging behind voltage by an angle 90 degrees. With respect to the direction of rotation of vectors, we can see here that voltage E is leading the current I by an angle 90 degrees. When I apply the similar analogy here, I can say taking current at a reference, okay, it makes I equal to Im sin omega t, and it makes E equal to Em sin omega t plus phi. Okay, it means that voltage E should lead the current I by an angle phi, because phi is the phase difference. Okay, voltage E should lead the current I by an angle phi. Okay, now that vector is drawn here. So this is obtained directly by observing equation 1 and equation 2. Okay, this is obtained directly by observing equation 1 and equation 2, but I have to obtain the phasor diagram for this equation 3, whereas equation 3 is same as that of E equation itself, equation for E. Okay, so when I add ER and EL, okay, I should be getting the phasor relation between this E and I such a way that E leads I by an angle phi, or I lags E by an angle phi. Okay, now we shall see how to obtain this equation vectorially. Okay, what is taking equation 3? E is equals to ER vector plus EL vector. Okay. Now what is ER? ER is nothing but the voltage drop across R, which is equals to I into R, and EL is the voltage drop across L, which is equals to I into XL. Okay. Taking current I as reference, because already we have declared it will be the reference vector I. It is the reference point or origin, we can say, in XY plane. Now how to mark the vector? Because see, this is ER, therefore I into R is also a vector, EL is a vector, I into XL is also a vector. Now I should place these vector I into R and I into XL. So to draw the phasor diagram for the entire circuit, okay, I should consider the phasor relation between voltage and current across each element of the circuit. Okay, considering the element R, okay, the voltage across element R is I into R, that is the voltage drop, okay, and the current through this R is I. Now from the pure circuit analysis, we have seen that the current in pure resistance and the voltage across pure resistance will be always in phase. Therefore, from this analysis we can directly conclude here that the current I and the voltage ER will be in phase. Already I have the current vector which is lying on reference axis. Now I should place the vector ER in phase with the current I. Okay, like I told already that the current I and E will be lying on each other, they will be overlapping. So here I will show vector ER, okay, which is equals to I into R lying on I, because ER and I are in phase. Okay, ER is the voltage across resistance. When we are discussing about the element R, don't worry about what is happening in L. Once we finish with R element, we will come to L element, then we will forget what had happened in R, because already that will be taken care. Okay, likewise in any number of elements may be present in the circuit, we will be seeing or looking into the phasor relation across each element, and then we will be drawing the phasors. Then we will see at the end how to get the resultant. Okay, so the current I is flowing through R, making a voltage drop of ER. Now the voltage across R is ER and the current through R is I. Hence, current I and ER should be in phase. Therefore, I have drawn vector ER in phase with current I overlapping. Now coming to the second element. The same current I is flowing through L, making a voltage across L to be EL. Now please note that this EL is a self-induced EMF across L, because inductance has got the nature of self-induction. Okay, L is self-inductance, therefore there is self-induced EMF. And I into XL is the analogous representation of voltage drop of I into R, where XL is called the inductive reactance. And inductive reactance is usually considered, or in general any reactance is usually considered to be imaginary. Okay, when we see the further representation of impedances, we will discuss there. Okay, so this reactance XL is considered analogous to resistance R, simply to represent the drop across L. So this EL is considered to be drop. Why it is considered to be drop? Because it is opposing the source voltage E. So when I apply the KVL, these two voltages are opposing each other. Therefore, here it is considered to be drop. So to represent that drop analogously, like I represent drop I into R, I take help of XL, that is called inductive reactance. Okay, therefore I into XL will represent the voltage that exists across inductance L, and this voltage is a self-induced EMF. Okay, you please remember that when I say drop across L, it is self-induced EMF. When I say drop across C, it is the charged voltage. Okay, now this voltage EL, okay, is existing across L, through which the current I is flowing. Now the same current I is flowing through L, across which there is an voltage EL. Now we know that in across inductance, the current will be always lagging behind the voltage by an angle 90 degrees. But here already I have considered the position of current vector I to be on reference. I have to now place the vector of EL. Now this EL will be leading the current I by an angle 90 degrees. Why 90 degrees? Because the effect of R is been already considered in this vector. Therefore, I assume now that this L to be purely existing. Okay, though there is R of this L present in the entire circuit, but this R is already taken care here. Therefore, I now take this L to be pure. Therefore, the phase difference angle between EL and I take now as 90 degrees. Now I should place vector EL at an angle 90 degrees with respect to vector I, and the nature says that vector EL will be leading vector I by an angle 90 degrees, because current I has to lag behind EL by an angle 90, because already I have placed vector I on reference axis. Now I should be placing vector EL with respect to I. Therefore, when I observe this phasor diagram, E is leading I by an angle 90 degrees. Therefore, I will take vector EL leading vector I by an angle 90 degrees. Okay. But now, as per equation 3, I should add vector ER and vector EL. Okay. Hence, I will be taking vector EL at the end of vector ER. Okay. Now, this is vector EL, which is equals to I into XL. Okay. Now, with respect to equation 3, the resultant voltage is E, which is equals to the vector sum of ER and EL. Now, this is vector ER, this is vector EL. Now, the vector sum is given as E. Okay, this is vector E, and the angle between E and I represent it as phi. Now observe the phasor diagram here and here. Okay. So this phasor diagram was drawn directly from equation 1 and 2. When I have drawn the phasor diagram for equation 3, giving or obtaining the resultant of the voltage, considering all the voltage drops in the circuit, I again obtained the same phasor relation between E and I. Here E is leading I by an angle phi. The same E is leading I by an angle phi. Now what is E? I can write E is equals to, now from this vector diagram, E is equals to, applying the Pythagoras theorem, can write it as ER square plus EL square. Okay. Now this is the resultant voltage E, the magnitude. Okay. Now what is angle I? Phi is equals to, okay, I can write tan phi is equals to, it will be opposite upon base, that is EL upon ER, or I can write it as I into XL upon I into R, or XL upon R, that is phi is equals to tan inverse of XL upon R. Okay. And current I is equals to, we shall see what is current I after some time, we'll see here. Okay. Or this E, I will represent it as I into Z. Okay. Now this E, I will represent it as I into Z. Okay. Where Z is impedance of the circuit. Okay. Z is the impedance of the circuit. So we can visualize Z as like resistance is opposition for the flow of current. Generally in DC we consider. When we consider the AC circuit, we can say that impedance Z is the resistance or opposition offered for the flow of alternating current. Okay. So this is the phasor relation between E and I in case of RL circuit. Okay. Momentarily we will stop here. In the next lecture we will see what is the power consumed in this circuit.